Hey, hello, and welcome back to Soulpreneur Scaling Stories. I am excited because I am joined today by the lovely Colleen Florendo, who is an embodied messaging mentor and selfish leadership guide, and we're going to get into what that means. Welcome, Colleen. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and just, yap away with you.
Awesome. So can you, first off, introduce yourself and let everybody know what it is exactly that you do in your business?
Yeah, so I'm a embodied messaging strategist and selfish thought leadership guide, I would say. I mostly help people sort of like surface their sort of inner thought leadership and outer thought leadership and kind of find the intersection of that. So I do that by day, and by night, I'm like a dance enthusiast. So you'll
Oh,
find
what type of
actually
dancing?
a lot. I do like chair dance, heels class, jazz funk right now is my new thing. So
Hmm,
yeah, it is a form of expression.
love it.
So being able to, translate that into dance has been so helpful for my like own journey. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I love that because some people would not, like, if you hear that, right? Like, oh, yes, like, yeah, that's just for fun.
Mhm.
But it's really cool that it's actually business related for you and that helps you because you do these things that are really creative for your
Mhm.
business,
Yeah.
and so then you get to do these fun things that actually help you to be even more
Yeah.
creative.
I think that's a like common misconception is like, we only have to do business things or like read only like personal development books to help you. But
Yeah.
like creativity in all its forms, whatever art you want to do will always have like an impact, like a positive impact to your business, I would say.
Cool. Amazing. Okay. So you were talking about being a selfish leadership guide, and when it's written, the ish is in parentheses. And so can you explain that?
Okay. So it didn't have the parentheses before. The selfish thing was a message that I've been kind of working on myself. Like in my head, growing
Hmm.
up, I was called selfish a lot because I have sisters. So they're like, oh, you don't want to lend me your clothes. You're so selfish. Oh, you don't want to like hang out and do this thing I want to do. You're so selfish. And I was like, I always struggle with that. And that ended up for me like being more people pleasing, like self
Hmm.
sacrificed. But like when I moved to Sweden, I kind of like realized like being selfish is sort of like being selfless as well, right? Because I'm choosing
What do
myself
you mean?
first. And
Yeah.
I only learned how to do that like without the guilt, without like the shame, was when I moved abroad, which of course is like a new environment. Like no one lives here that I know except my husband and my friends, right? So there was so much like space to like experiment. Um, but I added the ish part is because I want to focus on the word self. And like a lot of messaging strategies start with, outer, external, like, oh, let's look at what people are doing. How can you make your messaging better than theirs? Versus like, how can we go, inward and like, what do you want to say? Like, what do you want to be known for? I think was one of the things that I have been kind of helping people kind of unravel, which is not a,
I love that.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I love that because it's multidimensional, right? Because one, as women, we are often the selfless ones, and we can feel guilty, about focusing on ourselves or focusing on our business. And like for instance, for my audience, right, of service providers, it is so common that I see my clients, people that I talk to, people that I've worked with myself in the past, like bend over backwards for their clients at the expense of themselves. When the selfish action you might think is to focus on, and I tell people like your business is your, that should be your VIP client. And people feel bad doing that. But in actuality, when they do that, then they're able to give more to their clients, right? Because it's like when you are focused on everybody else, then and not nourishing yourself, then you're not giving the best version of
Yeah,
yourself.
100%. You start to resent your own business. And I think that's a
Yep.
common like
Mm-hmm.
feeling that like service providers experience. It's like
Yes.
booked out, but I hate this. It's a common like
Yes.
experience, I would say. Yeah.
Yes. Yep, those are my people. Or the ones who don't want to get to that place. So okay, so now you're really focused on messaging and leadership and whatnot, but I imagine you did not start from this place. So can you share a little bit about your business journey? Specifically, when did you start and what did it start as?
Yeah, for sure. So I started as a freelancer, I would say, on Upwork even. So that's what I started doing after the pandemic, because I was one of the few that was not laid off, thankfully, but I was like, fuck y'all. I'm going to leave you before you leave me. So I left them. I left corporate before they could leave me. And then Upwork was kind of booming at that time. And I started like as a blog writer. I think a lot of copywriters start as blog writing, I would say.
Yeah.
And then eventually I don't know, I got some ad about copywriting. And I heard this thing that the more related your work is to the bottom line of the client, the easier it would be to get a client. So it was like the reason why I selfishly chose that. I have no shame.
So it wasn't something that you embodied. It was like, okay, like this is a strategy. I'm going to go there.
So my background was more marketing and corporate. So I said, it makes sense. I said writing and I love writing. So why not? But it was not in the sense that like, oh, this is like, you know, my purpose, my mission. It wasn't that at all. It was also like, selfishly, I wanted to be able to immediately kind of have my own income as I migrated to Stockholm. I didn't want to, I selfishly didn't want to be seen as a housewife. Nothing wrong with being a housewife, it's just a personal preference. So yeah, that was one of the reasons why I started my business.
So, okay, so you're like, okay, I have this job, I'm going to leave, screw you people. Like, I'm doing some copywriting, like blog writing, and I'm getting clients because I need to start making a business and creating my own income. And then what was like, so you started, right? Okay, so we have our business going. And then what was the next like level transition that you experienced?
Yeah, so I think the next level was, I would say, booking out as a copywriter and for an offer that didn't exist in the copywriting space. And what I mean by that was like, it felt like there was just, you know, launch email, sales pages, what else? Content, right? Website. And I was just like, I'm so bored with it. And it felt like some people were not ready for sales pages. Some were pretty good at writing sales pages, but they're like, some lack specificity in some parts of it. So it took a while for it to take off, but eventually when it did, it was like, I sold this thing called the plugin Say Playbook, which basically just like a playbook of words for like how the people explain their problems, their desires, and it's all written very specifically and tangibly, which a lot of my clients that, which is mostly like spiritual coaches, struggle with. And yeah, like, so I created an offer, I like productized it. I would say templatized it in a way. So that was my like next level. If that was
okay, so let's dig in. Yeah, let's dig into that a little bit, because it's kind of like, okay, because you said, oh, it didn't take off right away, and so I want to back up to that and something else. In addition to that is, so one is, you saw this gap, I imagine, and so I'm curious how. Okay, so let me back. So like offer creation, right? Like that's my baby. Like I love doing like offer creation and these types of things. And yeah, exactly. When you think of a copywriter, you think of the standard things that we were just talking about. And then you created something that was really different. And so I'm curious how that came about in your mind, this idea.
Yeah, so I think it was more like I had clients who wanted their sales pages reviewed. And I was like, hey, like, you know, most of it are written really well, but there were just some bits that they struggle with, which is the parts where you have to talk about, you know, the specific date daily like experiences that your clients are struggling with in the microscopic level. Like they were struggling with specificity.
Yeah.
So I focused on
Okay.
specificity as the whole kind of like
Mm-hmm.
positioning of that offer. And the reason why I say it took a while to take off because it's not a sales page. Technically, it's what I'm saying. It's a playbook, right? People are like, okay, what is
Yeah.
a playbook?
Yeah.
What is that? It's like, is it?
Because it's something you use across everything.
Yeah, exactly. And the point was for me, like, people don't know, like, they think, okay, I paid for a sales page and then that's it. It ends there, right?
Right.
When in
right,
fact,
right,
like,
right,
you
right,
can,
yeah.
like, grab the words from your sales page.
Mm-hmm.
Use it on a post, use it on an email. There's so many ways to, you know, really increase the, I would say, be able to use the words that you paid for. Right? Does that make sense? That's what I saw.
Yeah. No, yeah, totally. And I think that's really cool. And what made you stick with it as something that you said did not take off? Like, why didn't you just abandon it and say, okay, this is not selling?
Yeah, because I think like it was just I didn't want to sell the same things as everyone else.
Okay.
It's my
you're like,
Aquarius moon.
you're like, no, but that's fair, right? You're like, this is boring. Like, I want to do something different. And so it's almost like you created a new category of thing. So you created a whole new category of thing. And so it was because then you were like, okay, I don't want to do like this thing because it kind of bores me and I'm really interested in this. And is that right? Is that accurate as to why you stuck with it?
And I think it's also like, it was either that or I do a custom, right? Either the typical offers or custom. And custom is like so exhausting, to be honest. Like,
so this is another selfish thing. I love this theme.
Exhausted. I was like, I'm so tired of sending all these proposals, right? Like, I want to be able for them to like, hey, I want that, check out, done, right? So I stuck with it for like, I did some betas that did really well. So then I didn't start off without like any testimonials and anything. But it was like really knowing who I was talking to. I think at first it was for everyone. And then I realized, oh, it's more of the spiritual people who kind of struggle with it. Since a lot of them use like frequency. Yeah. So like, what does it look like? So I helped them with that. And it was also out of I don't want to give people a reason to compare me to another person who's also probably good at what they do. Does that make sense? Because then, like, if you hit another sales page writer to another sales page writer, like, at the end of the day, it's a matter of preference.
Right.
Pricing could be a factor, but at the end of the day, like, oh, I like this style more versus, right? And I was like, whatever. I don't want to be compared to anyone else. Like, there shouldn't be any comparison because, like, there's nothing like it. So I stuck with it. Yeah.
And how long did it take you until you're like, okay, this is working?
I think it was like 5 months.
Okay.
Of just repeatedly launching it. And at some point, I didn't even know people were buying it because I couldn't keep up. I was like, wait, I only have capacity for like, 3 a month. But yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
That's really cool. I think there's so many good lessons in this as well, is that you're like, no, I did this for me, but in the end you made something really cool, that was unique and that people needed. And I imagine that they loved doing it because they got a lot of use out of it. And it's really kind of like that foundational messaging that you need across everything. So that's really cool. But it came from this selfish place, but and call it like this nourishing place for you. And so I think it's such a good lesson there is that you don't have to just do what everybody else does, one, and then two, keep talking about it, keep doing it. Don't just say, oh, I talked about it once and nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
Right. And just give up.
Yeah.
Because it takes time, especially when it's new. And especially when, one, your audience doesn't associate you with that thing. Two, in your case, it was something like totally unique that people had to take time to wrap their mind around.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like, I'm assuming, what is that thing I wanted to say? What's that thing that people wear when they're like, want to wear a dress that's super tight and they want,
like
Spanx. So I'm assuming people didn't really like, understand what it was at first. Like, is it an underwear? Is it like what is it? Is it
Yeah.
like tights with no legs? Like, well, what is it? And I think she didn't give up on like talking about it, right? And I think when you're really set on, yeah, no, I just don't like any of these like offers that are being offered in my niche, then created
Yeah.
something that you feel like you would buy yourself, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And so, okay, so that was like the next level. And then was there another level after that?
Another level would be
Another growth?
to leave done for you work. So I
Okay.
left done.
So, okay, so you're doing, was this playbook, was kind of like done with you?
No, it was done for you.
Ah, okay. So it was a playbook that you took them through, but you were crafting
Yes,
it
yes,
for them.
yes.
Okay. So you were doing first, you were like writing all the things, then you're like, okay, I'm going to give you this playbook, but I'm still going to write it so it's still done for you. Okay. And then you were like,
So I think it was like at the end of 2024 where I was like, I've been in a lot of these businesses gurus, like the ins and outs of their launches. And I was like, copy is just not everything. It's just not everything. You can say, oh, you can have like, I don't know, this ebook of all the copywriting techniques that you can pull from, and people will still not buy. So I think at the end of 2024, that's when we kind of saw like the market kind of, we had smarter buyers, right? More sophisticated buyers. And the type of messaging that's being taught to go with the copywriting that I used to do were just very, I would say, surface level. And I said, I just can't keep selling something I no longer believed in. So it was another selfish thing. Basically, my entire business is built on selfish reasons.
yes.
So that's
Love
why I
it.
just
Yes.
transitioned to embodied messaging. Like, you can't just promise this. Like, I think I had a coach before who told me like, okay, what's the highest amount of sales you've done for a client in a launch? And she's like, make that your messaging. And I was just like, ugh. But so there was a like integrity factor in why I made the switch. Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. And so in your offer now, so you're not doing done for you. What is it that you're doing?
Yes,
Is it more coaching? Is it more a mix?
so more mentorship. I do a lot of like VIP weeks, and then more long term. I call it the voice coaching because I think.
Okay, so you're working with people to help kind of like they're doing things and you're pulling things out and mentoring them and whatnot. And so also I see a number of people who, take this route of going like I did the same, right? Of going like from done for you into either done with you or coaching. And it is a big shift. And I'm curious if you could go into that a little bit in terms of how the transition worked in order for you to be successful in this area, because this is a brand new area.
Yeah, I would say I initially, I was scared shitless, I'll be honest. It was super scary. I was scared shitless to transition to mentorship, and I think I was sitting on it for like months.
What was it that was scary?
I think it was like, oh, do I know enough? Am I safe enough to mentor someone? You go from like an implementer to like a guide. It's different, right? I wanted to make sure I was.
Yeah, it's a different responsibility.
Yeah, I wanted to be sure I was a safe space for that. So what I did was I reached out to clients who were interested in working together, and that existing clients who were interested.
Okay, yeah.
Because that felt safer to me. Like, okay, they already know my style. We love each other. So what better way to just do this? So that's how I made a transition, and that kind of gave me the confidence to like, fully pivot, I would say. Yeah.
And this is, and this is something that I see a lot, especially when people are launching new things, is that you don't have the proof yet. It's like you don't have the proof that it's going to work. So, and the thing is that confidence comes after, right? Like after you're like, okay, like I've done the thing. Now I see like I'm not going to die. The tiger's not going to eat me, right? Okay, I feel good about this. And so it is one of those really pivotal moments of launching and doing the thing when you don't have that confidence yet, because confidence is not this like innate thing, right? It's like something that comes like
ebbs and flows
after you do it. And so it takes a lot, to do the transition and to do the thing. And I like how you're like, okay, like let me do this with people who like to ease the transition into it, because you're doing it with people who already trust you.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, exactly. And that felt safer. And I think like in the space, people talk about like, oh, you're playing it safe. Like, yeah, but sorry, like this is what I'm capable of right now. Like safe doesn't necessarily always mean bad. So I think I was going to say something else, but now I can't remember.
Well, no, you actually reminded me of a client of mine. We had this conversation like literally yesterday where, we've already had mapped out her as a client, all of these things. And for her marketing, her focus and where she loves marketing is inside of Facebook groups. And so there's one where it's kind of like more newer people, but they're her people, but newer. So, and then there's another one where it's like, oh, that, but like more established, higher income earners and whatnot. And so going through it, it was basically in the conversation, like the TLDR of it is that decided that, okay, it's not a waste of time, like marketing and having an offer for the lower, quote unquote, like lower level group, because that feels safer and is a good transition point and a good stepping stone to working with the higher level. So it's kind of the same thing, right? It's okay, like, and obviously, as long as we're not going to stay there forever,
exactly,
and not get to the point where we actually want to get to. So it's like, okay, like let me get a couple clients and like build that, and then we're going to keep transitioning up.
Yeah, and I see it kind of as like grease, right? Sometimes to get through something, you need some grease, right? So
okay, yes.
You're not going to use grease
I was like
forever.
The country, the musical. That's what my brain was like, grease.
You're not going to use the grease forever, right? It's just like, I need this to do this other thing, right?
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's a very good example. Okay, I'm going to make an abrupt left turn because I want to get to this topic. I always ask my people, like, hey, is there anything that you want to talk about? And you had brought something that I think is really the word I'm looking for. I would say prevalent, that's not the word I'm looking for, but anyhow, really important for people who are implementers. And we were talking about how a lot of people are asking, when you're doing something where you're more of like the implementer type person, you are judged on your portfolio, on how much you cost, on these things that are, and not as much on your thinking, on being a thought leader and things like that. So we're talking about basically the role of portfolios in hiring. And so then I'm going to hand the microphone over to you because you had really good thoughts on this. So if you want to just want to like jump in.
No, for sure. So I love my portfolio. I think I wanted to like put it out there first. Like the people I work with were amazing, but at some point I felt sort of like commoditized in some way. It's like when you go book shopping, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but you will, right? Like you still will. So that's how I felt about my portfolio. I was just like, oh, right, but doesn't explain why I use that word and not that other word, and so I kind of
but it's so interesting. So I'm going to pause you for a second because it's really important, because a lot of people worry about their portfolios for that very reason. Right? Because they're like, no, like I do these amazing things. Like, oh, do I need a portfolio? People asking for portfolios, or I don't have a portfolio, or it's like, I'm a systems person. Like,
what do you show?
Like, what do you want to see?
Like, what?
Here's my really cool Zapier out of
But if you can, really. So anyways, going back to how we got here, I was like, okay, how can I show people the way I think versus just having the portfolio, right? And for me, that felt like I was selling without selling because I was sharing the way I was thinking, why did I explain it that way? Like, why is it positioning that way of a certain thing? Right. The more I shared about that, the more people were like, hey, like I want to work with you. And I actually had a client last year. She's a systems person, which is, I remembered her when you mentioned the Zapier. And she's like, yeah, I was taught like this messaging techniques or copyright techniques like the ADA, the PASS, the typical ones. And she's saying, I just don't understand it in a way that feels good to me. And I was like, she said, she also had the portfolio problem. Right. Mm-hmm. It was like, what does she show? Mm-hmm. What can't you show? To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also most of those that like systems are private. I don't think clients, I'm assuming copy is different, but I'm assuming systems is a different story. So I was like, okay, let's create from, how she has ADHD. So I was like, how do you do it for yourself? She's like, okay, I create systems for how my brain works. I was like, okay, well, that's your message. Like right there, you just said it to me. So our whole message was like educating people on how to create systems around their brain. So like, oh, how does your brain work? Oh, my brain works like this. I think in I just don't know system stuff, so I'm just putting random stuff.
Right.
Like I think in folders. Yeah. Okay, how do we create stuff the folder way? Or like you're a notes app person. I'm not the best example. Mm-hmm. I'm not sharing the best examples for system people. They might hate me for this. But my whole point was that everything we created was to kind of build a case on how you can create systems around your brain versus buying another like, oh, my 6-figure, I don't know, launch systems, right? That you just will probably never open.
Like plug and play.
Never open again. You're like, oh, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
So,
So basically, instead of portfolio, you're like, let me bring you into how my brain works because that's deeper.
Yeah.
Than just like, here's a surface level of like, look at my pretty graphics or the pretty words on the paper.
Exactly. And it makes the person.
And are you doing this through like content on your website, like all the things? Or is it something that you include, like you have an example like that you would give them instead of a portfolio?
Yeah. So they would basically walk away with sort of like, I don't want to say a manifesto. Let's call it like a playbook again. A playbook that they can pull from and like, okay, this is the message I am working from. So my system client, okay, her main, I would call it her counterculture perspective. Because I think for a perspective to have a weight, to have gravitas, it is counterculture. So I'm like, well, what are the other systems people saying? Right. And they're like, okay, you just plug and play all of these things and it'll be fine. She's like, that's not how it works. So she walked away with a whole like bank of angles, you could say. Yeah.
So, yeah. And so I think it sounds to me what you're saying is basically just like go deeper, period. Like take the time to look under the hood and be like, why do I do the things the way that I do them? And instead of like, okay, let's like go to clients with a surface level, whatever. It's like, no, let's everything like, let's go another layer deeper. Is that accurate?
Yes. I think especially with AI, like going deeper is a non-negotiable at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, such a good point. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for diving into that because I think that is really important. And for people who are like, wait, I don't know, or I don't do anything unique or different, I would argue that yes, you 100% do. You just have to take the time to go through it. And I think that the easiest way is to do that with somebody else because you can't see. A lot of times, like you can't see why you were special because that's just how you are.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you need somebody else to be like, oh no, that's really cool. So I think that's really helpful.
And taking the time to like really sit with your craft. I don't think a lot of us do that. Like,
no,
it's just like do, and then oh shit, I don't know what I do.
Right. And a lot of people are just so focused on I need clients. I want to get like more money. And the way that you get there is actually pausing, and being intentional. And then that's how you make things sustainable. And that's how you make things intentional. And that's how you have a business that you don't resent.
Yeah. I love that.
So, okay, last question. If you had to pick from your own journey one big top tip that you would like to share, or guidance or piece of advice that you would like to share with service providers, what would that be?
I think it's that you're more creative than you think. I think this goes back to the plugins that I created. Like, do not be afraid to, I don't know, just create something totally unique. I mean, if you really love it, people will get behind it. It will just take time. And I'm not saying to give up your other offers. I'm just like, if you're not creating for yourself as well, and I think like that's the whole point of like entrepreneurship, right? Because we didn't want to be kind of caged in some way. So
yeah, be selfish.
Be selfish. Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Yes, awesome. Okay, and how can we stay in touch with you? And do you have any freebies or gifts or whatnot that I will be linking in the show notes?
Yes, so you can find me on Selfishly Expressed. I will be sharing a freebie called Work of Heart to basically purge all the shoulds on how to show up around messaging, copywriting, a little detox from all the rules, basically. Yeah.
That sounds fun. I'm excited to dig into that. Thank you so much for being here with us, Colleen, and sharing all of your wisdom openly and vulnerably. And I am, excited to dig into that freebie.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's a wrap on today's episode, and thank you so much for listening. If anything we talked about today made you think, okay, well, what does this actually look like in my business? That's exactly what a free business audit is for. In just 45 minutes, I'll help you identify your unstructured expertise, pinpoint what's keeping you capped, and map out what your signature method could look like. There's a link in the show notes to grab your spot, and I will see you in the next episode.